No, I'm not ready.
Well, too late. We were live on the internet.
Ah.
Too late. Too late.
So yeah.
Ugh. I have
So,
felt like it is like Tuesday/Wednesday, like Tuesday going into Wednesday for the past 3 days.
oh no, this week's flying.
It's been weird.
It has been weird for me. I haven't really had a whole lot to do still at work.
What?
So it's a lot of busy work that I've been doing.
For me, now that the kids
Ah.
are back, it's nonstop all day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm sure.
At least one kindergartner stopped running around the school and just runs straight to my office now. he runs out of the classroom, and instead of us having to chase him, he just runs into my office to tell me, okay, thanks. Take a
That's
seat.
better. That's better. Hey, that's probably progress, right?
I hear a call on the walkie. Student has left the room. 2 seconds later, here, pop, around the corner into my office. I see him. Oh, I got him.
You guys have walkie-talkies?
Every school does.
I didn't know that. Dude, I don't deal with kids. I don't
Yeah.
know what they do anymore. I don't know what happens in schools. That's really cool, though, that you have walkie-talkies.
I don't think it's very cool. It's kind of
I don't know.
annoying.
It's better than having a phone.
Oh yeah,
Like
for
that's
sure.
what my school used to
It's
do.
more
When I got sent
convenient.
when I got sent to the principal's office, my teacher would call the office and say, "Hey, Courtney's heading down. She cussed out the science teacher again." 7th grade and 8th grade were bad for me.
I can't remember if we had phones in high school. It might have just been like, just go down to the principal's office and tell him why I sent you down there.
No. Well, I also went to a K-8 school, and they had just done renovations.
I can tell
when I was
you
in
at the school, at
7th
the
grade.
K through 8 school I went to, they definitely did not have phones.
No, yeah, my school, it was, they had just done a whole bunch of renovations to the school when I was in 7th grade. So that's one of the reasons why we had them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
They
No, middle school and elementary school were so long ago for you, Josh.
20 years.
Yeah.
Longer, actually.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. It's almost 20 for me.
Yeah.
Well, for the tail end of junior high. And definitely 20 years for middle school.
20 years ago.
And 20 years ago can have it.
1999.
I would have been in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I was in 4th.
8th grade and then freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I was in 4th grade at that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 4th through 6th, we were in portables at my school.
I don't know what that means.
They put them into Game Boys. They just shoved them right in there.
No, we were put into trailers for all intents and purposes.
Oh.
Outside of the school, because they didn't actually have enough room for the school. So, like, the study hall room, the 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade were all in the school, or all outside, or 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, something like that. We're all one classroom on each side of the portable, with like a middle, I guess, entryway, that like where we would hang our coats and stuff. But yeah, it was basically trailers. I don't know how long they had been there, but it was real fun in winter when you had to go inside the school to go to the bathroom, because the portables didn't have bathrooms in them. Yeah.
I don't want everybody hearing me taking a dump anyway.
I mean, that's fair.
Oh, I was at work.
Like, we actually had to walk. The entrance for us was through the library, so we had to walk through the library.
You're saying that long. It's library. If
I
I'm
would.
going by the student.
I was at work the other day, and there was someone like violently retching in the bathroom, and I was just like,
Tight.
just go home.
Oh,
Just go home.
Awesome.
yeah.
Like, if you are that sick, nobody wants to get your plague. Go
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily sick.
No, they were.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you
Yeah.
know
I
who
was
it
gonna say,
is,
yeah, sometimes it can be you're getting sick because you ate something bad at lunch or something.
Like, it's either the norovirus that's going through Pittsfield, or it was some kind of respiratory distress, some sort of respiratory infection that was causing them to gag,
Yeah.
and then throw up. So that was great. Either way, I just got over being sick. Thank you. Please go home.
You already got it. You can't get it again.
Yeah, you can.
I most definitely have not gotten norovirus.
That's, I don't know. What the hell is norovirus?
Stomach bug.
It's the other stomach bug that's going around.
So flu.
No.
Well, so flu
is
isn't
different.
Flu isn't GI. Flu is
Yeah.
respiratory.
Yeah.
Really?
People call it stomach
Yes.
flu, but it's not actually influenza.
Oh, I always call it flu if I feel nauseous.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Anything else
Flu.
is just a cold.
No, flu and pneumonia are in your lungs. It's just to what degree, I guess.
Pneumonia's serious. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
like a hospital thing. I never got that.
Pneumonia isn't always a hospital thing. I had walking pneumonia for like a month and a half.
Megan had pneumonia as part of
Yeah.
the recent thing that went around. I mean, she got
Yeah.
meds for it, but that was about it.
Yeah, I'd gotten meds for my walking pneumonia when I was in college, but it's not
Yeah.
It can lead to hospitalizations more, but it's not necessarily
Or you acquire it from hospitalization,
Yep.
as is often the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. It's basically influenza is typically like hardcore cold. Because like it's like cold symptoms, but they ratchet it up to 11.
Yeah, cuz it starts and you don't realize that it starts until, you could be feeling fine-ish at like 9 that morning, and then by noon you're feeling nasty, and at 2 o'clock you feel like you're gonna die.
Yeah, typically the difference between
That's what happened to me.
So the difference between rhinovirus, which is the common cold, and influenza is just like with a cold, you typically don't get like full body aches, fever, and
Nausea.
like you might have nausea from postnasal drip.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then
headaches, coughing.
yeah. Whereas a
and
cold
it
is usually just
phlegmy.
like it feels like you got punched in the face and have a cough and maybe like a scratchy throat.
A cold is usually above the neck.
Yeah.
Anything bigger usually goes further below.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it in my book. That's how I
No,
describe
Norovirus
it.
is like you've
enough times to know that the cold feels different than that.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like the sinus pressure kills me. And like I feel like my entire face is swelled up. But just inside as opposed to outside.
Yeah.
Whereas norovirus is like you ate bad Taco Bell for a week.
There's no such thing as bad Taco Bell.
Oh.
That's all Taco Bell is.
It's the best. It's actually better than Hot Harry's.
Whoa.
Blasphemy.
Whoa.
Blasphemy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no.
True
no.
facts. I'll take Taco Bell any day.
That is blasphemy. That's
what's funny
words.
right now is I feel like that the reactions in this conversation is how Questlog is going to go later this evening.
Probably not. Whatever.
Yeah.
But just
I felt like
with,
crap all week
with the reactions from other folks that yeah. But anyway. Also, Megan asked me before I came in here if she could paint my nails at some point.
What?
Aww.
I don't know. There may be some kind of random Sean gets his nails painted stream. Who knows?
Is there a reason for the painted nails?
I don't know. 'Cause I think she's painting her nails, and she's just being funny.
And she
okay.
wants you to protect your nails too.
Yeah.
At least let her put a clear coat on.
And then I was just being funny, and I was like, I want to be cool like Taliesin Jaffe.
Mm-hmm.
I want to
Yeah.
be eternal too. when can I become a pyramid? So I love that meme.
I don't know that meme. It just
I don't
sounds
either.
ridiculous.
Did that come out of the live show?
No, that's been a meme for a while now. That
I
like
have.
that there's a meme that just Taliesin is actually some sort of like eternal immortal deity or whatever, represented by
Like Keanu
pyramids
Reeves.
pyramids and the Illuminati and stuff like
No,
that.
Keanu Reeves is a vampire. That's
Yeah.
different.
But like, so anytime, like it got really big a while back, and so it was like people would like post a picture of a pyramid on Twitter or something and be like, "Oh, look, it's Taliesin." That's why there's a pyramid emote in the Twitch chat for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that gets thrown up whenever Taliesin does something. And then he'll say things like what was it, like regret is something for mortals, I don't feel regret, kind of a thing.
Yeah. In his Between the Sheets. I remember that.
No, it was on Talks.
He did. Oh, that's right.
He said that on Talks.
He said something is similar to that.
Because Travis was in the room, and Travis is like, somebody clip that.
Yeah. I remember he did say something similar to that in his Between the Sheets too.
He probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I was watching the meme drop with him and Travis playing sports games. I was just like, Taliesin, what are you doing?
Yep. I like that basically that's become like his show, despite the fact that the meme cabinet, like, at least it's implied that it like kind of belongs to Sam and Liam. Since they built it on All Work No Play.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
They built it on All Work No Play for like a segment for that, but then like Taliesin, it's like Talison's the one that's playing it all the time. I love it. I guess there was an episode of where him and Matt just like played Dragon Slayer, like the entire time.
Yeah, they played Dragon Slayer and Space Ace.
Yeah.
They played all those Laserdisc games.
Yeah. Yep.
I do not like those games. I mean, I like the art. I think it's rad, but
yeah,
just gameplay is like, I don't know, hit direction or hit button on time. Not for me.
The game is literally QuickTime Event the game.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or QuickTime Event and dialogue choices the game. Yeah. It's like no. That's the part of Skyrim that's like in between all the gameplay.
Did Skyrim have QuickTime events? I can't.
Not QuickTime Event. It had the dialogue choices.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which was usually like, you know, your opportunity to use intimidate or persuasion or something.
That's
or bribe.
every Western RPG.
Yeah. That's when you gain light side or dark side points in Online Republic.
I played a light side Sith.
I played a light side bounty hunter. That was light side bounty hunter is actually very cool. It's a very cool storyline.
I don't even remember. The choices didn't really matter.
Yeah, playing light side bounty hunter is how you can get killed in a dialogue scene.
What?
Yeah, is this Sith Lord says to bow down to him and everything or whatever, and like one of the light side choices is like, yeah, no, I prefer my independence, so like I don't actually have to buy into your kind of like crazy world domination schemes kind of a thing. And they're just like, kneel, force lightning, and then you die. Like it comes up with a message like you've died, and you get like the whole like res sickness thing coming back up and everything. And I'm just like, oh well, that's interesting. Great.
That's a thing.
I died due to a dialogue choice.
Bounty hunter, just shoot missiles. Lots of missiles.
Pew 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 pew. Yeah, it was missiles everywhere.
That was awesome.
And flamethrower.
If you're a tank, yeah.
Yeah.
The tank spec was a lot of flamethrower stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
Pretty rad. I loved that game a lot.
It was tank spec, and I think there was healer spec was for the agent.
Yes.
Which seemed weird to me.
Yes.
Like really weird. Like I'm a spy, but I'm gonna heal people. I don't know.
Agent, they allegedly had the best story in the whole game.
They did have a really good story.
I never played it all the way through, but
yeah.
I remember I played one. I started making a sniper, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game was awesome. Too bad they flubbed it.
I guess it's still really good to play, just up until you get to endgame, and then there's like no point in playing anymore. So they basically really what they should have done.
Exclusively PvP in that game, pretty much.
Oh, really?
I thought it was great. I thought
Wait, of course you
awesome.
did. Why am I asking this? Of course you did.
I did some of the. They weren't called raids. What are they called? Raids? What are they called?
I know what you're talking about. They're effectively raids.
They were, yeah. I did some of those.
Yeah.
I mostly did those. I used my bounty hunter for PvE, and I used my Sith dual saber guy for PvP.
Yeah. I don't remember what the names of the Sith were. Just
I totally forgot.
One was Magic Sith, and the other one was Fighter Sith.
Well, right. Yes. Well, there were 3. Because there was like Darth Maul style with the dual blade. And then there was
I just mean in terms of actual classes. There were only 2 Sith classes. One was Marauder.
That's what I was. I was Marauder.
It was like Sith Marauder and then like Sith.
Oh, that's right. Because it was else. Warrior. It was Warrior, and then you could be Marauder or Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Juggernaut was the more tank one.
Yeah.
And then you had, what were they called? I forget. But then it split to either Sorcerer or Assassin.
Yeah.
Or not Assassin, whatever.
It might have been Sith Sorcerer.
It might have been. And
then
that's
it was
right.
like Assassin.
Each side had 4 classes that split into 2 subclasses.
Yep.
That then split into, each one had 3 specs you could do.
Yeah, God, too many.
Which was good. I like that, actually. It was a good way to differentiate without having to go too crazy.
Yeah.
With minimum use. That game was awesome. I beat Xenoblade X.
Yeah.
Man, the end of that game.
Yeah. Just upset a lot of people.
I like the end, actually.
Oh.
I like it.
I think it was supposed to be, it implied that they were going to actually finish that story. And then they never did.
Oh, it's total cliffhanger on purpose. I don't know. I liked it. It does what all the Xenoblade games do that annoys me, is it just does total exposition dump at the very end.
Yeah.
Which they got to work on their pacing, I think. Because I kind of take back what I said last week about that in pre-show. Was like, I thought the pacing and the story missions was good. Kind of, it does, like, major events happen each story mission, but a lot of them go nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, you'll fight this boss, and you'll never hear from them again, even though you don't kill them. They just go off, and you're like, oh, they're still out there somewhere, I guess.
Sure.
And I guess there might be other stories that follow up with, like, side quests or stuff, or maybe affinity missions, like, I don't know, but I didn't do all that. I just wanted to get through that main story. But I thought, I know, there a lot of parallels with the other Xeno games, particularly Xenogears, with that whole like bio supercomputer thing in the life hold, and that's legit. Xenogears, same thing. And then I'm still annoyed they take Lao from you and make him a bad guy. He was like in my main party. I level him up and everything, and then all of a sudden they take him from you and like, oh, he's the bad guy now.
Yep.
Thanks, sick.
That stinks.
I had him in my party literally because 2 reasons. He was a sniper and his voice by Mercer.
I mean, that's a wonderful.
So like, yeah, you're definitely in my party. I needed the 4th spot filled, and then they take him. And then the whole like at the end, the life hold was actually destroyed the whole time anyway. And somehow all these robots are still alive.
But we're not going to tell you why.
Yeah. And then Elma was an alien.
Yep.
The whole time.
Yep.
But she looks like Cosmos for some reason.
Yep.
Okay. None of this explains anything.
Nope.
You're just dumping all this random crap.
Yep.
Into the game. Which was all cool stuff. I was like, oh, this is rad.
It is, Courtney, it is like a Harry Potter's novels worth of lore dumps in like the last 5 minutes of exposition at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And then they never followed up on any of it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, game's done.
Okay.
I think it was that it was intended that there was going to be like expansions or something like that, and then they just never got around to them.
Well, there's also now after I played it, I had to dig into all this like lore and speculation and stuff, and
You had
see
to
how.
go to the wiki and see what's going on.
Well, just lots of YouTube videos and like, because like I always like to see how the themes of all the Xeno games line up, because there's a lot of shared themes and philosophies and stuff like that. But I don't know, some people speculate all the Xenoblade games are going to somehow be connected, and somehow X is going to be connected to the two other Chronicle games in some way.
I think they've come out and said no on that.
They might not.
I think the creator came out and said no. It's intended, like it's not intended to be related to those other two. It was they attached Xenoblade to it so that people would buy it.
Yeah.
Because people have name recognition.
And because they couldn't use Xenogears.
Well, I was reading,
and like if they could, they would have just called it Xenogears.
Xenoblade was supposed to be just called like Monado or something.
Yeah.
But then they used the Xeno suffix or whatever to.
Yep.
Just for the recognition.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like looking at all like the shared themes and how there's always some type of like either the conduit in the Blade game in those games, or it's the Zohar and Gears, or the Lifehold, or the Catamoni and Xenogear, whatever. I just like all those shared things and seeing what characters reflect other characters in other games.
So yeah,
it was interesting.
Yeah,
but partway through it, I was just like, I need to get through the story. I'm getting so burned out on this like side quest. Like that whole game is just that more than the other two. Is side quest the game.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh my god, it's the same thing. Go kill this tyrant. Go collect these random things that you have a random chance of collecting from these blue crystals that are lying all over the place.
Yep. And it's to unlock essentially fast travel points. It's do a side quest. Or like find the thing on the map kind of a thing. Like you have to unlock it on the map.
Whatever, you just go to the spot and tap X really fast and plant your thing. Because I got all my I read it's like things you should know before you play. Like get your mechanical field skill up first, which I did, because then you can pretty much get all those fast travel points super fast. That's one thing I do like about that game a lot, was like how easy fast travel was, and it was easy to traverse the world. Like, it was annoying that you're going back and forth all the time to do stuff, but it was a lot easier than it is in other games.
Yeah.
As far as like,
what, you mean you didn't have to like run around for an hour to get somewhere?
Nope. I look at my gamepad, I bring up the map, I tap the spot on the map I want to go to, or that's really close to it, and I'm pretty much there or right next to it, basically, in most cases.
Nice.
And once I figured out how to use the robots, they were pretty cool, but
it
wasn't as good. It wasn't as fun as using the people. It was much slower paced. It was still cool. It was an alright game. It was okay. It wasn't great, but I don't know. It was worth it because I like all the Xeno stuff, so that's fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now I'll never touch a Wii U again.
Yep. Yep. So, shall we get started?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, because we got a lot. So it doesn't look like much, but with the Academy Award stuff, there's quite a bit. Yeah.
Why we gotta talk about the Academy Awards? Who cares?
All I wrote down was the stuff that I figured would be relevant to our interests.
Lady Goo and Bradley Cooper sang a song, and Spider-Man won something.
Black Panther won a bunch of stuff.
Whatever. Yeah. I'm over Marvel.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Let's get started. Going live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up on episode 132, Reggie announced retirement, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Academy Award winners, and much, much more on the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. We are bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week from our wintry, snowy, now not windy home, the farthest west you can get in Massachusetts, the Berkshires. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and with me are my co-hosts, as always, Courtney Bolin.
Hey, everybody.
And Josh York.
Neverending Story has the best original song in any movie ever.
Fun fact is back in the day, back when LimeWire was still a thing.
Oh yeah.
Is our
you got a million viruses from it.
Probably. Because our friend Matt Tucker
with that woman.
Our friend Matt Tucker came over and downloaded like a whole slew of songs onto my computer using LimeWire while he was house sitting one weekend. Or in like, you know, like basically like house sitting and like babysitting or whatever, right. Which was just like he came over and watched the house and hung out with me and my brother. But yeah, he downloaded a bunch of stuff on my computer and I was like, I probably like have to throw this computer out now. But a Never-Ending Story Air Rave mix was
awesome.
Was one of the songs that was downloaded, and I was just like, "This is what is all this?"
The best,
yeah. So yeah, as we mentioned in the pre-show, we got a lot of stuff to cover. So why don't we jump right into it? Let's get the Academy Awards out of the way. So
yeah, they happened.
Just wanted to mention, did any of us actually watch it?
No.
Okay. So we're just going to talk really quick. Basically about a couple of films. Bohemian Rhapsody won a bunch of stuff. Rami Malek won Best Actor. And it also won, probably unsurprisingly, sound editing, film editing, and sound mixing. However, not any of like the musical choices. It didn't win. Like I don't know. Like would that be able to win like original song?
No.
Okay. Presumably because the songs existed before the movie, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Black Panther won original score, production design, and costume design. Probably unsurprisingly for those. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse won Best Animated Feature.
Good for that. That's like the one Marvel movie I actually want to see.
That's interesting because that wasn't like, I mean, other than, yes, it was a Marvel, but it wasn't like a main Disney or Pixar movie, right?
Well, no, it was Sony.
It was Sony, too. They did it, yeah.
The first time Sony did something good with a Marvel thing.
Yes. Well, no, they did the other Spider-Man films that are technically part of the MCU.
Oh, and they did Logan.
Yeah, like Homecoming.
Logan was good.
Logan was Fox. Fox has X-Men.
That's right.
God, Sony just has Spider-Man.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You are right. I messed that up.
Fox sucked all the energy out of X-Men and Fantastic Four to make Logan.
Good. Good. They sucked the energy out of a bunch of crappy stuff so they can make one decent movie.
Oh no, what I mean is that they had to put out all those terrible movies to suck the life out of them in order to save it up to make Logan.
And allegedly the new Dark Phoenix movie is going to be awful from what I hear.
I'm not surprised.
All screen testing came back pretty bad, I heard.
Yeah. It's just that whole storyline's just difficult to do.
It is, because it requires the Phoenix Saga before you do the Dark Phoenix Saga.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. And I feel like
a real X-Men movie where they're wearing the actual X-Men costumes and not stupid black leather costumes.
Or street clothes, you know?
Whatever.
Like,
or whoever wrote Logan, have them write an actual X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
The reason Logan works is because it's a self-contained story. It's not.
It's actually a Western.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not. It follows a small amount of characters. It's a very straightforward story. It's not incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
And it's a good character-based story. And it's not like, and not to bash it. Avengers does as well, but it's not like world, universe, scope, danger.
Yeah.
On a
No, it's very contained.
Yeah. Whereas X-Men tried that and it wasn't good.
Well, and here's the other thing: is like they came out with the X-Men movie before, like it's, and again, this points to why Avengers works, is because they did all of the individual stories first
with all the individual heroes. Yeah,
and it's also why
that's hard to do with X-Men, I guess, because it's predicated on the team to start with.
Yeah,
none of those, other than like maybe Wolverine, can carry their own.
Yeah, you could do Wolverine. I think you could do Storm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You could probably do like maybe not just a Cyclops movie, but you could do like a Cyclops and Jean Grey movie.
Maybe.
Yes.
And then well, as explained, apparently you cannot do a Gambit movie.
Because Gambit and Wolverine are basically the same character.
That movie will just never come out. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And you can, I don't know. And a lot of the other X-Men, I don't know, maybe you could do a Beast movie. Do a Beast series.
Just watch Frasier.
I was gonna say, and then you just replay, and then you just put like a blue filter over Kelsey Grammer. Congratulations, you now have Beast the series.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, he did
done that.
He did make a good Beast though.
It's like there were some okay things about those X-Men. Like you get Patrick Stewart as Professor X. I like that. You get and Ian McKellen
as Magneto. Yeah, and the two of them acting off of each other is great.
Who the heck's the guy who plays Wolverine? I can't forget
Hugh Jackman.
His name. I just call him Wolverine. He's just Wolverine to me. Just like Robert Downey Jr. is just Iron Man to me now.
Yes.
He's just Tony Stark. But yeah, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and other than that,
I think it was noted both Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman now hold the Guinness Book of World Records for
most consecutive,
like number of years playing the same character, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like he got it for Professor X, but not for Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
I think you probably have to appear in something as that character.
Maybe.
After a certain amount of time.
I was gonna say because Patrick Stewart was in like 4 movies as Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be counting the TV show either.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Yeah, is they might not have counted the TV show. But anyway, so yeah, that was just a lot of the other movies that won. I mean, they weren't particularly geeky or nerdy. So yeah, I didn't really pay attention.
I don't even know what Green Book is or about.
It's the fact that it won Best Picture is a little controversial. It's basically talking about racism in, I think 50s and 60s era America, but through the lens of a white guy that drives around.
Is that
the black musician?
That's Viggo Mortensen. That's
Aragorn.
Yeah, it's Aragorn. And yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Oh, okay. So I do know. I just didn't know what the title of the movie was. I do know what it is about, though. Yes.
But the fact that it won over and the topic that it talked about over the other films that it was up against, a lot of folks are scratching their head over that one. But then realizing, oh wait, it's Hollywood and it's the Academy, so yeah.
Yeah, but what was it up against?
Black Klansman. Of course, you're going to ask me that after I pulled down the article. Which Spike Lee did win his first Academy Award for the Best Adapted Screenplay.
What the heck's the difference?
What?
I never understood the difference between like those awards.
So Best Adapted Screenplay is taking previous work and adapting it for film, whereas Best Original Screenplay is there is no prior work done, and you're essentially writing the screenplay for a movie.
It would be similar to or I'm not sure if this is in at Broadway they do Best Revival.
Well, so
for the Tonys.
So here's a way to describe it.
Because
So Star Wars would be best would be an original screenplay,
right.
Whereas Ready Player One would be an adapted screenplay.
Here's the question: what's the difference between Best Picture and Best Screenplay?
The writing.
Well, so Best Picture would be overall, so it also encompasses the cinematography, special effects, the acting performances, whereas the screenplay is like the written story.
Yeah,
I think
right.
It's a award for a movie. I don't know. I just don't see a point in differentiating.
Well, because you can have like a really fantastic screenplay
and write a book.
But then if the performance doesn't back it up, then there may be another movie that does that better.
I know, but that sounds like a separate category, like a separate award.
Yeah, but it's basically
it is Best Picture.
I mean, a separate, not an Oscar. It's something else. It's for writing, not for. I don't know. To me, Oscar means movie. What's on the screen.
Okay, but you can also get lighting and special effects and costume design.
It's all on the
Oscars.
Screen. I don't know.
But then the words are also that are spoken, and the way that they wanted everything to go with it being written is also it shows up on the screen because that's how they wrote it. I think Sean put it really well, because if you have a great screenplay, like you have a great story, but you have actors that you didn't cast right, and so it doesn't do well.
Alternatively, you can have
acted out.
You could potentially have a movie that holds up due to essentially improvised performances that the screenplay doesn't necessarily hold it, like that it just may be that when the director gets the screenplay, they may say, okay, well, all right, we're going to have to make some drastic changes here. Because the director can make changes when they direct the film and say, like, okay, well, we're going to do this and this kind of a thing.
Like, hey, we're going to let Josh Gad just improvise most of Olaf's lines.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, so that's why. I mean, it gives it's still an important foundation for a film.
I guess I still think it's a bit of a silly split up, but whatever. That's just my own opinion. It's just like my opinion, man.
You know, it's a category, and it's been a category for
it's whatever.
quite some time. It's the nature of the medium.
I'm just musing, is all. Pointless topics.
Because like film is it's an unusual medium in that it requires some piece of existing work, whether it's the original screenplay that's made to produce that film, or you're basing it on another thing. Because otherwise you just end up with, student projects that not a whole lot of thought goes into.
Right.
So, but even then, like the best ones still like have a script kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. It's kind of like theater in that regard. The only difference is that movies are done with the intent that it's going to be shown and edited together onto a screen, as opposed to you're doing the performance live and you can't go back and edit it together.
Yeah. We're doing it live.
Yeah. In fact, in film,
makes more sense to me in the theater sense than it does a movie sense.
I mean, but the same thing can happen with a script in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, it serves the same purpose as a script.
It's less open for interpretation though, on the stage than it is in movies, because again, the director can really change up a lot of things. Change how an actor is gonna deliver something. Again, choose to decide to let somebody just improv and just be like, just go with it, man, and get what they can out of it. Versus on stage, it really does have to be quite scripted. Or it is quite scripted, and you stick to the script.
Now, I would say...
I think that kind of proves what I was saying.
Well, I would say what would kind of support what Josh is saying is if, like, best script is a category in the Emmys, which I think it is, or it might be best writing, I think, for the Emmys, or best script for the Tonys.
Yes.
I know that best writing is an Emmys because that is what Emmy award-winning Sam Riegel, I believe, won his Emmy for, was for writing. So yeah. All right. Now that we got that out of the way.
Yeah, whatever.
So, I would say one would argue that the big news of the week is Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aime has announced that he will step down and retire in April.
Yeah.
One would say his body was ready.
He did, in fact, say, "My body is still ready."
I know.
He says, "My body is ready for retirement."
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, for the past 15 years, he's been in charge. I would argue that he's done a great job, even keeping things afloat, like during the dreaded Wii U era.
So Nintendo of America, they're basically just marketing, yes?
So it's essentially like marketing and localization. Yeah. So like they do handle like making, like, trying to get games to get released in the United States and then get things like translated and localized.
Oh, so that's why everyone's mad at Reggie for never getting Mother 3.
Yes.
Over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yep. Yeah.
Maybe Bowser will.
So yeah,
no one will ever get it.
That brings up the next point is taking over for him is head of sales and marketing, or current head of sales and marketing, Doug Bowser.
Hey, Courtney knew that off the top of her head.
Yeah. And the internet is happy to know that Doug Bowser is leaning as far into memes about him as Reggie leaned into memes about himself.
Perfect.
Where I guess like his announcement, like Doug's announcement was him like holding up a thing that said like Bowser's in charge now, and it had he has like a bunch of like little plushies on like cabinets behind him and everything, and it had Mario and Luigi like tied up with a bunch of controllers. So yeah.
Reggie was always a really good sport about everything.
Absolutely.
I just watched are you familiar with Mega 64? They do like a lot of gaming comedy videos on YouTube. They've been around for a long time, but they did one and like he was in it.
Yeah.
And like it was this whole skit where they like made a robot Reggie to try to sneak in to find out what Nintendo was going to.
Oh, the Reginator.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, that was an official. I remember seeing that. Yeah, that was like official marketing stuff.
Yes. And but Mega 64 is usually known for like really low quality.
Yeah.
Like skits and stuff.
Yes.
But it's just like I was like, man, he was like he played into it.
Oh yeah.
Good sport.
I mean, he talked about the Reginator they did like a montage of all the stuff that he did in his farewell kind of thing. And I mean, they also brought up like the time that he and Iwata and Miyamoto had puppets of themselves and did like a Muppets like sketch. They did when Robot Chicken essentially did parodies of his stuff. So yeah, I mean, and he was a great sport, He
was just an awesome face for Nintendo.
Absolutely.
At least in a marketing sense.
And the fact that like now, right up there with like A Winner Is You, My Body Is Ready is now like a staple Nintendo meme. What's funny is like it got put into Pokemon games as like some of the trainers, when you like go up to meet them, they'll say like "My body is ready," and I have had friends that did not understand that it was like a Nintendo meme, and they got like really upset. Like, how can they put this in like a game for kids and everything? This is hypersexualized. And I'm like, no, it's the Nintendo of America president said that while giving a demonstration on Wii Fit. He was demonstrating it on stage at like E3 or something, and they wanted him to get up on the thing or whatever. And Reggie gets up there and he's like, "My body is ready," and he like gets on the balance board.
Oh gosh, yeah. Those
he was not afraid to make a fool of himself to showcase off a product,
which is awesome. That's super important.
And like there were times when people found it like a little frustrating to interview him because he still had like a very marketing kind of thing where like he would often like steer away from certain questions and then like talk about, so just like a very political-esque in that regard. But like again, you have to have a certain
in that type of position, you're given what you need to talk about and you're given things to steer away from, and that's kind of
and then other times he would do things that just drove fans nuts, like a couple years ago when he wore a Metroid pin to the Video Game Awards and everybody thought, oh no. Clearly Metroid Prime 4 is going to get announced. And this was like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. People thought because of that, like Metroid Prime 4 was coming to Wii U, kind of a thing. And it was just like, no, Reggie just wanted to wear a Metroid pin.
Also, I spoke with you about this. I didn't realize his early career in Pizza Hut
Yep.
led to
The
big 90s, the
Bigfoot pizza.
Things, the Bigfoot pizza from
Yep.
Pizza Hut and the Big New Yorker
Yep.
pizza at Pizza Hut.
Yep.
And he would have been pretty young when he was on the marketing for that.
Yeah.
Because he's probably like my parents' age, so yeah, he would
I
been
think
like early
he's
30s,
I think he's around
late
50.
20s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about. I mean, if he's stepping down for probably early retirement, I wouldn't be surprised if he's around 50.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I don't know, it was just funny to read that and be like, oh my god, I totally forgot about those two things, but I do remember eating those.
Oh yeah.
As a kid.
I mean, that was like if you went to a party.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you got a Bigfoot pizza.
Yeah.
So
that was before like every pizza place did a party-sized pizza.
Yeah. Except for like local.
Right.
Because I remember like Big Y always had a party pizza kind of thing. Because like that's where you had to go.
Those things are monstrous.
Yeah.
We used to actually get them every once in a while when I was working at Breen Center. We'd have like a party or something. Instead of ordering like 6 pizzas from Papa John's, we'd just go to Big Y and get one big pizza.
Yeah.
And just eat the entire thing in a couple hours.
That's so funny when we're planning school events. We're like, we need to get pizza. We're like, well, Big Y.
Yeah,
little conversation I had a meeting yesterday.
We get that because like it's across the street.
Yeah.
And everything, but it's not good. I am willing
pizza.
To publicly say it.
Bro,
like
it
that.
is party pizza.
Yeah. But yeah, so
yeah.
Once
Bye,
again,
Reggie.
another gaming legend has retired. Be sad. But at least based on his track record, I think Doug Bowser is going to do a great job. I think we're in line for so many.
Activision's not involved, so
no.
As
No.
Different situation in Blizzard.
Yeah.
As he said in his farewell speech, with a name like Bowser, can he really go wrong?
Nope.
Yes.
Nah.
Bowser's the bad guy.
Dude, Bowser is best.
I mean, you could argue sales and marketing, right?
Yeah.
But no, I think
for the year of Bowser.
I think you know what? I think that would be really funny, actually.
Bowsette. He should dress up like Bowsette.
No. we already have Mark Hulmes for that. I don't want anybody else coming in on that territory. But yeah, so just like to thank Reggie for all of his wonderful work, and welcome to Doug Bowser, and may you be showered with many memes. So
yes, I'm
right.
sure that's going to happen.
So next up in Nintendo news, I'm going to jump around a bit in our notes. So for some Pokemon news,
yeah.
So we got a second Detective Pikachu trailer. This one looks really good. This one, like a lot of people, saw the first one and like, oh, this is just a joke and everything, and then saw the second one, and I think it's turning a lot of people's opinions around. And I
thought everybody was into it to begin with.
Maybe it's just because I'm on like the Nintendo subreddit and other places and Twitter and other places like that. Some people were getting down on it. But then they saw the second one and they were like, you know what? Nope, changed my mind. I'm all in. I mean, you get kind of a slow jam version of the original anime theme that goes into Holding Out for a Hero. Pikachu mildly cusses.
Beautiful.
We get Mewtwo. We get Greninjas, like acting like ninjas. Yeah. We get a Ludicolo, like tending bar.
What?
So Ludicolo is it's essentially like a water duck kind of thing. It's got a big shaggy coat around it. It looks like a big like furry coconut, but with like a duck bill. and a sombrero.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a water
Okay.
grass type.
Yep.
It's like tending bar. So yeah, I'm all in on this. And we see,
it actually looks kind of adorable.
yeah,
It's a little bit creepy, but also kind of adorable.
yeah,
But the Pokemon itself is a little bit creepy.
yeah. We see just a whole bunch more Pokemon and Pokemon interacting with, just the modern world. So it seems like that they put a lot of thought into what would a modern life society
Yeah. How would they work?
How would that work with Pokemon? Because like in the games, like nobody has cars. Like there's no cars anywhere.
The most you get is a bicycle if you're lucky.
Yeah. There's not really a lot of like high tech. We didn't really get a whole lot of high tech stuff until Black and White.
Yeah.
Whereas before that, it was kind of like in a like rural Japan setting. And then they did Black and White, and it went to like New York.
It was no, Black and White was set in Paris.
That's X and Y.
Black and White 2 are set in New York.
Black and White 2 are set in the Unova region, which is New York. X and Y are set in the Kalos region, which is Paris. And then Sun and Moon are set in the Alola region, which is Hawaii. And then we might as well talk about the next one, Pokemon Sword and Shield.
They're all set in Pokemon World,
which is pretty much set in London, or kind of just like we'll say non-French Europe, because it's like kind of Britain but also kind of Germany.
Very different Eastern Europe to Western Europe.
Yes, but it's basically so it's like Germany and Austria and like the countryside, and then like the cities are British. So, and you got a lot of like steam-based technology. There's like big clock towers like Big Ben, but at the same time you get like very long rolling fields of like wheat and barley and stuff with like snow-capped mountains, which you do not have in England.
Do they use Pokemon for energy in any of the Pokemon games?
Yes, typically. Like lots of electric type Pokemon can be found around power plants, and they'll like, what's funny is like it's often the case where you'll get like we joke about like, hamsters running on the treadmills and everything to like generate power, but like in some cases like they would put like Raichus on a treadmill and have them like, as they exercise like generate electricity kind of a thing.
Yeah, again, last actual mainline Pokemon game I played was in 1997, and that was Pokemon Red.
Wow.
Yeah.
On my brick Game Boy.
Yeah. Which, like, in that game, you had exactly, like, one truck. And everybody thought Mew was under it.
Hardly at all.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was nice in how they just represented, like, what, like a modern-day New York would look like with Pokemon in there. But yeah. But anyway, so we mentioned Pokemon Sword and Shield. That is the next mainline Generation 8 Pokemon game coming to Switch later this year. So yeah, as I said, it's kind of set in like this. It's set in the Galar region, is how they pronounced it. So basing it kind of like a little bit of like Germany and Austria and a little bit of Britain. Seems to heavily imply a Knights theme to it with Sword and Shield. So it makes you wonder if like Aegislash and its related Pokemon are going to factor into it, given that they are literally swords and shields. And they talked about the starters. So we got, all right, let me make sure. We got Grookey.
Yep.
Who is a grass type monkey Pokemon.
Yep.
I will be disappointed if people that select Grookey and fully evolve it, if it turns into like a big ape kind of a thing, don't name it Danky Kang. because it would be the dankest of Kongs and the dankest of Kangs, being a grass ape.
Yes, and then we have Score Bunny.
Score Bunny, who's just a fire type bunny. A lot of people are hoping that it does not do the inevitable turn into a firefighting type like every other fire type starter has seemed to do.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they do similar to how they did with Sun and Moon, with making it not firefighting.
Yeah. Also X and Y, they didn't do firefighting.
Yeah.
A lot of people are thinking it might be fire electric, which would be really interesting.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be.
And then the last one is Subble.
Yes.
It's a little like aquatic chameleon that uses water to like bend light around itself and turn invisible.
That's the coolest part. When I saw it, I'm like, is this just gonna be like when he first popped out of the water because he's all chameleon-y? I was like, is he gonna be like an invisible water type? Like, that's legit what I first thought.
They wouldn't have it be a totally invisible water type, because then you would run into like the old 2nd edition D&D Invisible Stalker artwork, which was just a blank box. Which was the best artwork. But yeah. So yeah. Not a whole lot more information besides that. I mean, it looks like the art style will be, as far as the aesthetics, will be similar to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, with some minor tweaks. Some of the shading is a little different, and then it looks like they'll have like a slight outline to give it like a little bit of a cel shaded look to it.
Yeah, it's funny because like when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this makes sense why they did, the Let's Go, because it was basically first storyline. Let's make sure that works. Okay, now we have Sword and Shield. Let's change up the graphics and see where it fits. But like, it was, I saw that as a test run, basically.
But it looks like we're going back to random encounters in the tall grass, held items, abilities, all that stuff. We're gonna get new Pokemon, and then gym battles and stuff like that. So it's a return to form. So for anybody that was worried that Let's Go Pikachu was going to be like the new normal, it's not the case.
We had known that wasn't going to be.
I know there's still people out there who were convinced.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm excited. I would sincerely hope that Aegislash features heavily in the game, because it's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's actually it presents a lot of tactical opportunities, given that it changes stances. So you essentially do like a Berserker stance and Tank stance. And like you swap between the two by either using a specific ability that puts you into your like shield stance, and then if you use an attack move, it switches you back to attack stance. So that's cool. But yeah. So and then last bit of, it's technically Nintendo news. But in May, coming to Nintendo Switch, we're going to get Resident Evil 0, 1, and 4.
Wow.
Interesting. I wonder if one will be the remake of one they did on the GameCube.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably just report it over.
And maybe like an HD remake of it or something.
I mean, it was already HD'd up. It
still
looks really good.
GameCube?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think
comparing it to how Resident Evil 1 looks on PS1.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's about 10K.
Yeah.
Compared to that.
Oh yeah.
You almost became a Jill sandwich.
Oh my god, I can't.
No, I am refusing to acknowledge that comment.
Yeah.
That is best line in any video game.
No, I'm pretty sure because they play it on the one of the Frog Pants podcasts I listen to, where they have just Jill Barry.
The whole
they also have the Jill sandwich
opening,
run. Yeah.
The whole live action opening movie to Resident Evil 1 is actually the best.
Yeah.
If you ever have a chance, find it on YouTube. It is great.
I just remember being a kid and then seeing the whole, was that one with the dogs that jump in through the window in the mansion? The zombie
if it was
dogs.
a mansion, it was 1 for sure.
I think it was 1.
One is the
Because my best
mansion.
friend growing up had it. And it was that scene where, because they do a cut scene where they show the dogs like jumping in through the window and everything or whatever. And it would have been a case like if they had not done the cut scene, would have been fine. But they made it like super gross looking and zombie dogs and super scary and everything. And like growing up, I was already afraid of large dogs. And I was just like, I can't sleep for a week now. I was just like, zombie dog's gonna get me. And yeah, did not sleep for like 3 days. Just like, can't sleep,
Awesome.
zombie dogs.
Yeah, so it was like me after I watched Alien.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I will pick these games up because it's Resident Evil, and but I know of more than a few people who will be super delighted to find this out.
Yep.
I played them. Unless they do an actual remake like 2, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they are gonna do an actual remake, but we'll
probably
see.
not.
They'll probably do 3.
Probably.
We'll see. Actually, they'll do an actual new one, I bet, next.
Oh yeah,
That's
right. Yeah, because they gotta do 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, a little bit of Blizzard news. Overwatch is getting a new hero, Baptiste, new support hero. And yeah, I haven't played Overwatch. I mean, his story looks kind of interesting. I don't know if it's as interesting as some of the other heroes they put out, but it's basically like when he was little, he joined, I guess, one of the like terrorist armies or whatever to survive, and then reached a point where he was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to take a stand and help people, and then like revolted and like deserted or something. And that's basically the story that we got. So yeah. They no indication of what his abilities are besides like given the fact that he heals people, he'll be a support character of some sort.
There's videos of people playing him on PTR on YouTube.
Oh, he's on PTR? Okay. I'm just surprised that they didn't do like a rundown of his abilities like they do for like heroes.
Yeah.
So
he's got a gun with a grenade launcher on it.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
His ult is he puts up this invisible wall and it doubles anything you shoot through its damage.
Whoa.
That you shoot through it, or any attacks that go through it?
And I don't know. I don't know what.
Put that wall up and then doomfist somebody right through it.
Do Hanzo's ult through it or something. Or actually,
I
was thinking Soldier 76s would be really good through it.
No, it's you just put that wall up and then you just bastion turret mode from behind it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now that's already OP, but
oh, I wish it were. Bastion's never gets played in competitive because he's just so easy to take out.
Oh yeah,
at the pro level, like pros don't play him really, because you know you have to be stationary when you do turret mode, and that's just not great if you're actually good at the game.
Well, mobility is top in any competitive game.
It makes me think it's basically like stealth in Heroes, where like you almost never see any of the stealth heroes get played at the now defunct pro level. But like they absolutely wreck, bad players like me. They're really good against players that that are new to the game or on like the lower skill levels, and then they're like garbage against like pro level players.
I mean, I don't know. Valeera, you have to be good with Valeera to be good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she's not.
Yeah.
You got to build her the right way. Why can't I think of her name?
Nova.
I was gonna call her Ghost.
Basically.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel Nova's pretty easy to play and be good with. I'm not good with Valeera. I do pretty good with Nova.
But the problem is players that are really good.
Nova can take a person, basically.
Yeah.
Nova can pick a person off, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And that's if they don't see you coming, which now that they changed the stealth mechanics.
Yes.
Or
well,
if
that's
or if
the
you had a
main
really
problem.
good computer, you could turn your settings up all the way and then basically see her coming. And then you were just like, yep, nope, I see you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so new Overwatch hero. And then last up, some D&D news is
Yeah.
there's a sort of a special edition starter set coming out that's Stranger Things based. So it has like a little Stranger Things like adventure along with special Demogorgon minis. Now, some folks complained because
not my Demogorgon.
Right, it's the Demogorgon from the show as opposed to the Demon Lord.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, so I mean, it's a starter set. If you've never played before and you're a big fan of Stranger Things and you want to kind of see what D&D is about, go for it. I think it's like $20.
That's not bad for a starter set.
No.
I mean, considering how much you can sink into books and minis and everything else.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it does include dice as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice little thing. I don't think it's out yet, but you can pre-order it.
Why do I feel like I heard something about this at work?
I mean, you guys will probably carry it at some point when it's out.
The girls on the TV have probably talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the next up is the next book coming out is another adventure module, The Ghosts of Saltmarsh. So this is going to be a little different than previous adventure modules because they said what this will be is a series of adventures that you can either use as standalone or you can kind of combine them together with a little bit of, massaging to make them fit one narrative that kind of revolve around this coastal community of Saltmarsh, which was from Greyhawk, but they've adapted it so that you can drop it into any setting. And
oh, cool.
It's basically nautical adventures. And in addition to those adventures, they're also going to provide some player options and rules for, doing things like ship combat and other nautical themed stuff.
So those might be like similar to the rules that Mercer gave the guys at Critical Role if they were going to be doing.
Which those rules are based on an Unearthed Arcana article that came out about ship combat.
Okay.
So, yeah. So yeah.
Nice.
I will probably pick this book up because nautical stuff's my jam.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, our campaign has the opportunity to do more nautical stuffs.
Yeah.
I'll probably pick it up just to steal random crap.
Oh, also, this will I think it'll be the first adventure module that they do, which will have a special edition cover.
Oh, cool.
So like the normal cover is like a big scene where they have like a little dinghy or whatever, and it's a bunch of adventurers that are fighting off Sahuagin. I always pronounce it as Sahuagin. But like, the shark-like fish people that get blood frenzy and are all like, we love sharks, as opposed to the other ones, which are like Murlocs. And then there's like a kraken eating a bigger ship in the background. And then the special cover is going to be just a big Sahuagin on the cover, like reaching out and like grabbing something and like snarling at you. I kind of actually like the normal cover better.
I've always liked all the normal covers better than all the special edition covers.
Yeah.
Part of that is I like all my D&D books to match and have the same aesthetic. And a lot of times the special edition covers don't quite, they kind of look different.
Yeah.
It's just different.
So yeah.
Different.
And I mean, also, like, I have come around to published adventures. Before I used to be like, no, I will never use published adventures because I will come up with better stuff, and then never plan anything whatsoever.
I ain't got time to plan that.
But basically with 5th edition, I've been really impressed with a lot of the published material that's come out. And this is all based on original D&D modules and adventures. I think it's something like U1 through U5 or something that appeared in like Dragon Magazine and first edition modules and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
But also for the other stuff, because I like my ship rules.
I wouldn't mind having the ship rules just so I have something, so I don't have to make something up or do a lot of searching.
Yep.
I always like to steal maps from these books.
Yep.
I like to scan the adventures and see if there's anything like nifty that I want to jack and take for myself. And definitely magic items for sure. There's usually always new magic items.
So I do think the adventures, I think it's on the lower end, so it might range from like levels 1 through 7.
That doesn't matter.
Which is
everything anyway.
But it's because I know most folks don't play through high levels, and so that's why I think they've been focusing on like the lower levels for adventures.
Also, what I do like these other not that I've done this in a long time or will have the opportunity to, but if I were introducing a group of new people to D&D, I could snag an adventure from one of these modules and boom. Or if I would teach in a group of kids D&D, I could just instead of having to make something up, boom, I'll grab an adventure from this this book instead of using Fandelver for the 15th time.
Yeah.
Granted, Fandelver's a great, awesome starting adventure. Don't get me wrong.
You get to show people how dangerous D&D is with that first goblin encounter.
Exactly. I feel like I've done it recently.
You lose half the party in the first combat in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, also of note, the internet's new favoritist wizard, Kate Welch, worked on this book and has been like the one project she's been working, big project she's been working on.
Kate Welch's
Bay. Not your grandma's grandma.
I cannot believe that just came out of your mouth.
I don't care.
She's not your grandma's grandma. So yeah, I don't know if there's been any release information for it, but be on the lookout. So,
fun.
No artificer yet. But it has been mentioned that they are working really hard to put it out. And their hope is to have it out, tomorrow, basically. Because they said they were working really hard to get it out by the end of the month.
Was this Unearthed Arcana?
Yeah. Basically the newest version of the Artificer.
Okay.
But Jeremy Crawford did say that due to staff illnesses and the unusual weather that they have been getting slammed by up in Washington. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're up by Seattle.
Yeah, they have gotten unusually large amounts of snowfall.
Yes,
and
they
then,
have.
When it was finally time to come back to work, plague went through and knocked everybody out.
Oh no.
So yeah, there were times when there was just nobody in the office whatsoever. So yeah. Hopefully we'll see that, but
Yeah.
They did also mention that future Unearthed Arcana would be put out on a much more flexible schedule without any set things. And my guess is to avoid questions like of when's the Artificer coming out? Or like why didn't we get a UA on Monday? Kind of a thing. To avoid that and just give them a little more leeway,
a little bit more flexibility
in design. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to wrap up the news for this week. So let's talk about what's been going on with 8-Bit Adventures.
Yeah.
So there was no comic this week. I was not feeling well this weekend. And did not get one out. There will be a patrons only comic that goes up this week.
Woohoo.
That will be about the weather the past couple of days.
Will it be Monty flying away?
Maybe. As he is small.
Because that is what I have thought about.
Yep.
Is that poor little pup just being blown away.
I mean, it ripped the siding off my house and knocked my grill over. Which is always a concern when the grill gets knocked over because the propane tank is still hooked up to it.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, sincerely thought that my living room wall was just going to cave in at one point
The
because
window?
the wall was flexing with the wind.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so
It's been a rather blustery day.
yeah.
We had to keep.
And then in addition to that, work has been continuing on the new podcast. So that will go up soon. We're looking at kind of a bi-weekly release schedule for it. Yeah, the sort of, what do we call it? The pilot episode for Berkshire Bites is currently up on Patreon and is available for patrons.
Woohoo!
So you can check that out. We talk about hibachi and Kodo, which is a local hibachi restaurant here.
Yeah.
Since it will focus on Berkshire County restaurants. So.
Yum, yum.
Yo, you were right next to that Allendale McDonald's. You should have hit that up, done a review.
No.
That'll be when we don't have a place to review, basically. Since I go seemingly like once a week.
That will be when they run out of restaurants in the entirety of Berkshire
Oh,
County.
that's not going to happen.
I went there today, and they say, just let you know we don't have fries.
Oh, God.
They ran out of fries?
Well, that was the day that we were recording Jamora, and Josh and I both went there independently, and they said we don't have any soda, or we only have Diet Coke.
It was just Diet Coke, nothing else.
Yeah, that was the only soda that they had. Yeah, I don't know.
You're on notice, Allendale McDonald's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I barely go there, and it's in my parking lot.
Yep. So yeah. Also, last game night was Monster Hunter. That actually worked out really well. So I think the next couple of game nights we'll do some more Monster Hunter World. Do some high rank stuff. Since I finally beat Pickle. It's known as Devil Joe, which is a big, nasty T-Rex that will just randomly invade the area. And thrash around, grab other monsters and throw them at you. It's a monster that uses other monsters as projectile weapons. It's great. As
they do.
But he's big and green, and he has like little spiked ridges down his back, so he looks like a big old pickle. So, as a note, this week there will be a bonus late night game night stream on Saturday. So you get one extra stream this week, folks. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of what else. There was an art stream. Made a logo for Berkshire Bites.
Yeah.
So.
Which looks adorable, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the plan was to like make it a little like cartoony icon, like food icon logo. And I was playing around with the background because I did instead of doing just like black outlines for everything like I do with the comic, I did all like different color outlines, and then I was playing around in Photoshop doing the coloring and everything, and like accidentally put the background as black, to see if I had like gone outside the lines on any of my coloring, and then realized that it looked really good and it looked like either like chalk or like a neon sign or whatever. Yeah,
that's what I thought, neon.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it like this. So yeah. So be on the lookout for that pretty soon. We do have to record the first episode still. And then once that's up, there's a little bit of editing and stuff that needs to get done and some back end work, including getting it approved on iTunes to run. So there will be an announcement when that first episode is up and running. So yeah. There will be a new comic next week.
Yay!
It started, it was just I sat down to do it, and I was like, I can't do it. like I would try and draw, and I got like one panel done, and then I was like, I can't do this. It was like some kind of block. And then the sad part was like I tried doing it, and it was like 5 hours later, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this, and just set it aside. Because it basically just killed my entire day. Because I sat there just trying to draw for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And could not.
Yeah, that's...
When was that? Saturday?
Sunday.
Mm.
Yeah. Because normally I do it Sunday morning. Get it done, and then it goes up. It's ready for patrons to view. But yeah, it was just a block, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of been me this week with everything.
Yeah.
Like everything has just like shut down for me this week.
Because I know exactly what the story is going to be, and I have visualized the panels and what goes in the panels in my head, and it was just committing that artwork to paper. It just couldn't happen. So my apologies to all the fans of the comic and to the patrons and everything.
Life happens,
but
and it will get out eventually.
Yes. But yeah.
Then we'll get to see what happens.
You will get to see what happens.
Yes.
And then it will kind of actually wrap up that arc. And then move on to a new one for chapter 2.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that kind of wraps up everything in 8-bit. Oh, well, so no Jamora this week. We're on an off week for it.
Yep.
Those episodes will go up for patrons. We'll get those up. I do have them. They just take a while to upload. It's some format that the TV station records them in. That instead of taking, like 20 minutes like the podcast does, it takes like 3 hours to upload it to YouTube.
Sick.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's like when you would do the pod. That's like when you would do the podcast.
It's how we used to do it, where I have to upload it overnight, or when I go to work. Yeah.
I remember those days, and then you'd come home or you'd wake up in the morning, and I would get a.
Oh yeah, because I lost power I lost internet connection during the night. Yeah. Thankfully, this now my internet's stable enough. Like I could, like set it and then still like play games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
well, especially now that you have a computer that can do that too.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. All right. So now it's time. So it's time for the return of Quest Log, but in a new format where we're going to talk about our progress for Final Fantasy IX. So, Quest Log.
Less quag.
All right. So, as I said in the pre-show, so there may be some contention. Over this.
Unfortunately, as I just said, my life has been an absolute shamble this week. I did get and download. I have not.
Oh, we should probably mention. We're playing Final Fantasy IX.
Yes.
We should probably
because it released on Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, my depression and other life, everything has really been kicking my butt this week. It's been, as I said in pre-show, I have felt like it is Tuesday into Wednesday for the past 3 days. So I don't know what's been going on with my brain, but I have barely been able to focus on anything.
Okay. But you at least have it.
I do have it, and I'm feeling better tonight, and my plan was to play tonight at work.
Okay.
So half the battle is done, though. I do have the game.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I can't wait to hear about you guys' progress, so I can tell you how far I get next week.
So, do we want to, Josh? Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I'll let you go.
I feel like this is going to be a good news, bad news kind of a thing. So
that's fine. You go.
So mine is I've basically gotten to the point where I have reached like the overworld. Basically went through the evil forest and now I'm out into the overworld.
Okay.
I am having a really hard time getting into this game.
What in particular about it?
So There are a couple of things,
Okay.
actually. Like, I know that it's a game, from like circa 1999 2000, right? Or
Yeah,
was it a little
99.
later than that? Okay.
99.
The UI is killing me still. Even
Really?
keeping that in mind. And I'm just like, I just am having a hard time like caring about any of the characters so far besides Steiner. And I don't know if it's just I identify with Steiner at this point.
Do you identify as like overly serious about everything?
I think it's just because like of just the fact that all the other characters are a bunch of like teenagers and he's represented as like a crotchety old man at 33.
That is true. I mean,
And I'm just
identify
like,
with
and I know that's a very Japanese trope kind of a thing. And I'm just like, man, I feel for Steiner right now.
I do too, because he's just trying to do
he's just trying to do his job. And like you look at like the position that his knightly order is in.
Yes.
And it's like, man, like this is a mood.
I mean, I thought you would. Oh, I figured it's like the little bit of humor where like, yeah, he's the captain of these knights, but all his knights are kind of like dolts and dullards, and like he's just trying to keep this mess in some type of order.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's like
you need to find the princess, and you run around and talk to all your knights, and they're all not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So I mean, he's really the only character that I've like been invested in.
Yeah. I'll say it's like I said, it's been a while for me since I played this.
Yeah.
And like the actual story hasn't even started yet. This is all like just getting us to where we need to go. Basically.
Yeah, I figured and playing through, I figured after, going through what I've gone through so far is that it probably takes a little while to get going.
But that being said, I thought the first couple hours of the game, there's like always something happening, right? So it's like the first part is the play and the escape from the castle. And then it's like the ship crashes and then you got to get through the forest. And then I think then it starts to slow down a bit because you get to the next main city. And then but even then I don't know if did you get to Lindblom?
No.
So that's the next main city.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten there. It's literally like I stepped out of the fort and like did the little Moogle tutorial.
You've hardly done anything then.
And that's the thing, like, yeah, so I know like I don't want to write it off. Because I feel like this is like a Netflix series and I'm like maybe halfway through the first episode. Where I need to give it the 3 episodes before just being like, oh no, I'm not gonna die.
No, you need to give it the old Netflix try.
Yeah, I'm at least hoping that at some point I can just kick Zidane out of my party and just have Steiner take over.
So I think Zidane comes off, and I think it's written purposely as like annoying early in the game. He's like, oh, all the ladies love me and blah blah. Oh, look at this cute princess and blah blah. Well, and
it's it's the fact that like I don't know that. So, Courtney, do you want me to spoil?
Yes, I'm okay with spoilers.
Okay.
So this is like the first hour of the game. He's hardly in.
And it's basically like you go to the castle and then the princess like is conveniently like, oh, well, you're going to kidnap me. And, now Zidane thinks that like, oh, he's being all gentleman because he's just following the princess' orders. It's like, no, you were going to kidnap her anyways. That doesn't suddenly make you a good person.
Yeah.
And then the fact that like his special passive ability so far is I'm going to like intervene for girls. So like if there's any protect girls. So if you have any girls in your party, he will take damage instead of them, kind of a thing. Also the fact that like he's listed as human but he has a tail. Like that bothers me.
You have to get further into this.
I know. But it's just bothering me because it's like no, he's a cat boy. He's not a human.
Monkey boy. He's a monkey boy.
Okay.
Steiner calls him monkey continuously.
Oh, that gets into some weird.
I don't think
so. That gets into some PC stuff.
No, I know he literally has a monkey tail, so I'd think no.
Yeah, so it's a little better, but now he's gonna have like Goku syndrome.
Yeah, like that's like a running thing through the game too.
Yeah,
particularly early on. I mean, Zidane does show growth by the end of the game for sure.
Yeah,
like I said, I think he's purposely made to be a little annoying and unlikable at first, so that he can have the arc of realizing that he's kind of just been a fool early on. Like he's done foolish things early in the game.
Yeah. And it's like I have no attachment to, or like I have no investment in like this troop kind of a thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I also got really frustrated because like I really wanted to nail that like fight sequence. That you do the fake fight sequence, and I had to do like 6 freaking times.
I got it on the second try because only because I'm using an Xbox controller and I'm not used to where the X like it's the classic like there's X's in a different place on each console's controller.
Yeah.
So I was like I had to like do that second of brain thinking where it is on each one, but I got it the second time. I got it perfect. Did you try to do the jump rope with the VV? And Alex, oh, you didn't come across that? There's a part where you're VV in the beginning of the game, right? Yeah. And you're walking through the city trying to go to the play, and you come across these kids jump roping. And if you talk to them, they're like, "Oh, join us," and you can try to like see how many times you can jump, and you'll get, depending on how many you get, you'll get different items rewarded.
Wow, I totally missed that.
None of them are very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also like. They told you about this whole like card thing at the start of the game, and then they don't give you enough cards to actually do anything.
You have to find them, and you get them from killing monsters too.
Okay, I think I got a goblin card.
Yeah.
So I have 4 now, but it's like why
5?
Like why even bother telling me about this stuff until I would have 5 cards, and then I can actually do something.
I hate the card game. It's so fun.
So yeah. And then it's just the frustrating thing of like how the princess has summons available, but you can't cast them because you don't have enough mana.
And you also have to hit story beats to figure out why.
So at that point, I'm like, so why list them aside from frustrating the player? Like that's just little game design idiosyncrasies with me.
Yeah, I saw that too because again, I hadn't played a long time and I forgot. Yeah. And I know she's a summoner.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's like.
But Josh, she can't be a summoner.
Why are they listed?
She can't be a summoner because she wore a white mage outfit in the intro when you find her.
That's right. I didn't even realize that. Yeah,
that little cloak that she wears is a white mage cape.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't notice that. What are you laughing about?
I found this adorable image online.
You're cutting out, Courtney. Your audio's cutting out.
I found this adorable image online of the new Pokemon starters, where the grass one has a sword, the water one has a shield, and then the fire bunny has a gun.
Oh, I've heard that everybody thinks like, oh, the third one's gonna be like, oh, Pokemon gun, and it's like, no,
that's not gonna happen.
Chances are you're not going to get a third game, and I wish people would let that go. We haven't gotten a third game in like 3 or 4 generations.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I am. So I also feel like I've just gotten to the point where systems are starting to unlock. So I don't know if that's going to help.
Maybe.
Like it's at the point where I can finally start accumulating actually like AP now, like ability points to unlock stuff.
I spent a lot of time running around the world map just grinding AP so I could just because I had a lot of like gear switching in and out to try to get all the different abilities I wanted to, just because I am very obsessive compulsive about that in a certain way. Like, oh, I've got these abilities, I need to get them now before I move forward. Like I might need them.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that, and you'll get into you'll learn about the synthesis stuff where you can like combine items and weapons to make different items and weapons in the next city. And
I also
different abilities.
I don't like the fact that Zidane's only ability to start with is flee.
Steal, he has steal.
Well, he has steal, but like the one that you get from like your gear and stuff that he's unlocked is flee.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, why? So number one, who is going to no, flee should just be a baseline ability that anybody can do. Like running away should just be a baseline ability. And number 2, like nobody gets excited for that. No. Let's be real. Nobody's ever excited to just have run away as your ability.
Sometimes if there's a lot of random encounters like this game can have. It's like, I just want to run away.
Like,
but it should be just like other Final Fantasies. You just held all the top buttons down and you would run away.
Yeah. Like it's not cool enough that Pokemon had to introduce additional mechanics onto those abilities to make them viable. So like teleport would make you like auto escape, but then if you used it in the field, it acts as you teleport back to the last Pokemon Center.
There's other ones. I think he gets one of his items does like flee, but you still get the money, or like flee gill. You flee, but you still get money.
Okay, so like that's interesting.
That's a little better.
Yeah.
I find
one of the things that I've come across that I'm still not quite sure if it's an ability that I unlocked or if it's like a combo thing or whatever is Steiner's like it says the ability's fire for under sword magic.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually use fire. It's then like Vivi casts fire on him.
It adds fire elemental damage to his attack.
Yeah. So yeah, and that was something that like it was never really explained. So I'm just like, oh, Steiner can cast fire. That's a little weird. I don't know. He seems like a tank guy. Sure, but I'll have him cast fire. And then then like, you know, Vivi casts fire on his thing, and then I was like, oh, so does that mean Vivi's not going to be able to do something? Nope, Vivi can still cast fire. Okay.
Yeah. Which actually comes in super useful.
Yeah.
A lot, having multiple people who can use elemental attacks.
Yeah.
In a lot of scenarios. That's why it's hard for me not to have both Vivi and Steiner in my party.
Yeah.
Later in the game, because like that's such a good combo.
Yeah. I think I'm also just like not a fan of the action time battle system at this point.
Yeah.
I think enough games have either moved in one direction or another, where it's just back to straight up turn based, or in the other direction where it's like freeform. Kind of stuff, and like a real time system.
It was just that was the time, you know.
Yeah, you know, and I mean,
doing it.
I'll probably have the same issue with 7.
What I wish it had was a speed up mechanic in battles.
Yes, everything seems to take so long.
I mean, I've got a couple like I'm playing on the Steam version.
Yeah.
Mainly because I wanted like to see the upgraded backgrounds and stuff in those mods. And I have another mod that does like when you enter a random battle, it does like this little swirly on the screen before it goes into it. One of my mods like cuts the timeout on that, so it doesn't take forever, like 5 seconds for the stupid.
Yeah. I also noticed, and this is relevant for you, Courtney. And I don't know if you're running into this problem, Josh. The game itself has not been running very well.
Which fine.
Which strikes me as odd. I mean, like the Switch, you know, the Switch doesn't really compare to like the other like big home consoles that are out, but like I mean, the Switch is still should be powerful enough to run a
PS1 game.
To run a PS1 game. Like it's certainly a lot more powerful than the PS1. And I'm still getting instances where the game drops to 15-20 frames per second.
Really?
And I know this is a thing that other people have encountered as well. Like during battle or during like, you know, scenes in which there's a lot of stuff going on or whatever. It just drops down and it chugs, and I'm like, this is not great.
All right, I'll have to keep an eye out for that when I start.
Yeah.
It might be just as simple thing as
battles also take a long time to load too.
Yeah.
There was one point where it was like a couple seconds, and I thought the game had just crashed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 0 problems.
So
on PC.
Yeah, and that's interesting that they're having those issues because it literally just launched. Like you wouldn't think that there would be.
Yeah.
Although it's kind of a like double-edged sword, where like either yes, it did just launch, so there is.
It's also a question of how well optimized it was, and given that it's a port, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, and I figured that was like a weird Switch specific one. If it's out on mobile, I wonder if mobile has the same problems as well.
I don't know.
Yeah. But
I think it's also. I have a feeling these ports are hastily done just to get them, and it's not done efficiently, I'm sure.
I mean, let's put it this way: if 7 has the same problems, I'm gonna eat my hat because there is no excuse. Because that game does not look good these days.
I'm gonna be mad if 10
I will
10
say,
do that.
I will say,
shouldn't.
The character models look really good.
Yeah, they did a nice job of upgrading those from the PS1 version.
And I know, our backgrounds certainly won't look as good as yours with that mod that you're using.
Yeah.
But they're not bad.
They're passable, and they were also done late at the very end of the life cycle of the PS1.
And I learned, interestingly enough, that they were actually done as HD backgrounds, but they were like scaled down for TVs at the time. And then Square lost all the files. So
they are notorious for losing.
Yeah.
That's one know why FF8 doesn't get remade. They lost the source code for it.
That would not surprise me.
Oh my gosh.
They've done that a few times. Kingdom Hearts 1, they lost the source code for it and basically had to redo it all for the 1.5 remix.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So they are notorious for doing things like that and losing information and data. I don't know how you do that more than once before you have some policy or backup in system and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think give it more of a shot because you're hardly into any of the story.
I mean, obviously, because I mean, we're still doing this segment, so I'm still in it.
I really Vivi is one of my favorite characters in Final Fantasy period. He seems kind of like a blank slate early on, but you're about to get to a point where you're gonna kind of a little mystery surrounds Vivi's whole backstory.
I was gonna say, like, I don't really have much of an opinion because not a whole lot has really happened aside
He's
from
just kind of there, right?
Aside from Rat Boy, is like, you're my slave now. Go get me that ladder. Bah, bah, bah. Yeah, and I'm like, no, like what? Oh.
Right.
And then like you find out that Vivi's he's like a black mage, so he's like, no, just you light him on fire, make him go away. Like you should be able to.
A lot of Vivi's story is like not being confident in himself, and then also his identity, because there's a whole like thing with black mages in general in this world, and their just existence.
Yeah.
So that's always an interesting part. And if you get I don't know if it's Quina or Kina, whatever. There's a character that's the blue mage. He/she, because I think it's kind of a gender neutral character. They. Whatever. Never identifies what they want to be called, so it's just I don't know. I thought you like that character just because they're a cook and they're kind of silly and there's a lot of shenanigans with that character. So I figured that'd be more up your alley.
Maybe. I don't think I've come across that character yet.
No, that's later. It's a little later.
Yeah, no, it's just
optional
it's just
too.
Steiner's a mood. Especially Steiner's a mood for me right now.
Yeah. I also feel like you for some reason you had something just this weekend was a weekend for you for whatever reason. It sounds like.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah. Because you were having a hard time doing the comic, and then.
Yeah, I mean, I was.
That might have been it.
Like my hip was bothering me. Like after Jamora on Friday, and that kind of persisted through the weekend, and I was having just. Like I still haven't been able to shake this cough, so that was also kind of a thing. And then Megan was away, so it was all trying to do stuff with that.
Yeah, and I'm honestly not that much further than you. I've got maybe 6 hours into the game right now, but at least an hour of that was just grinding.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, it's like if I'm really invested in one game, it's hard for me to kind of pull my attention away from it and do
for sure.
And I'm full in on Monster Hunter right now.
Yeah.
So it's when I have limited time and I'm like, I could play Final Fantasy IX or I could finish getting my Rathalos set, and all I need is one item. I
find hard about RPGs like this in general. Particularly older ones, it's not necessarily the case on newer ones like this, but games that have save points, like you're kind of stuck playing till you get to a save point, and you don't always know when that's gonna be.
And that's actually what determined like when I was gonna like stop playing. Was like, okay, I'm gonna reach the next save point, and that's gonna be it.
So I know, like, on weeknights, it's really hard for me because once I get home and eat and settle in, it's like, okay, how much time am I gonna have to play? And what if I get stuck in a really long section, and then it's like late going to bed, and so. It's
Although, wait a minute, the Switch has a standby feature.
Yes, it does.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
Switch is great for that.
Yeah. As long as you don't close it, then. Which I've accidentally done before.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. I always, even with stuff like that, I'm always like, well, what if something happens, or if it doesn't work correctly? And I just want to have the save point. Modern games, you don't really have that, because most modern games, you just save whenever.
Yeah.
But
I will say, actually, so it's not true. So there are two characters that I am invested in. One is Steiner. The other is Monty the Moogle, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually, when I saw that, I had to show Megan. I was like, look, it's another little Monty that's a furry white creature. So yeah.
I usually hate adorable and cute things, but I like the Moogles.
I really want to play Final Fantasy, because I still haven't played Final Fantasy VI. Where there's I think it's Mog the Moogle, right? Is he one of the main characters? But he's like a Mog Knight.
There's so many characters in Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
There's like 15 characters in Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah. I just remember that one because I remember seeing the artwork in magazines.
Yes.
And it was
we've talked about this before. I remember the ad it's the Moogle with like all the dead monster bodies around it. And the Moogle standing there. Yes, that's for whatever reason that image sits in my head from my youth.
I also, just in Tactics, I loved all the Moogle characters. How Moogle was the only race that could get the Gunner class.
Oh, you're talking about Advance then?
Yes,
Advance?
Sorry, yeah.
I'm gonna say, wait, no, Mustadio's the engineer in Tactics.
Yeah,
but yeah, for what little I've played, I am enjoying my time with the game so far. I like it a lot. It's just maybe it's more nostalgic for me.
I think because this is like my first time playing through, so it's like.
And I think this game compared to other Final Fantasies has a bit of a different charm than because it's definitely a different feel and aesthetic from 7 and 8 and 10 and all those other ones. This is much more. I get a much more almost fairy tale classic feel from this than the other ones.
Yeah. I think it's just I'm also just I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if the cutscenes hold up.
I think they do. I think they're good.
Okay. I don't know. For me, they have just like that era of 3D animation to them that I'm just like, it was really great at the time, but I don't know if
I think it worked fine because of the art style they used in the game, and
it's definitely a lot better than if they tried to do a realistic one. See old Final Fantasy not Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, like old Resident Evil 2 cutscenes.
And again, it's PS1. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Or Final Fantasy 7 cutscenes were the only ones. Actually, those don't look too bad. The actual cutscenes, and not just like,
not just the playable dialogue scenes.
Or no, not It's basically like how Blizzard has like 2 different kinds of
I know what you're saying.
Cinematics.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I'm thinking of. Not a cutscene, but a cinematic kind of thing. Because 7 had a couple that were mostly the weapons,
the character models. Yes.
Yeah, and then they had ones that use the character models. I'm like, no, this isn't doing it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'll definitely be playing more of it this week. Definitely on the weekend.
As I say, I'm on an wings. Looking forward to being able to get some time in to play tonight. My Switch has continued to be in my bag every night, so like, it's been there ready. It's just I don't know, something about this week has been weird.
I think it's also that I've just kind of fallen behind on posting stuff, and so now like I have a backlog, and I'm like, oh no, I can't do stuff because like I have to post 6 episodes of Gamora to various places,
Oof.
and do 2 comics, and record, and then streams, and then we won't be around Friday night, so yeah, so that basically like kills a whole night that's available.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna continue with it for the sake of the podcast.
Good man.
Hey, it's like me cutting through, binging some terrible show for the podcast.
Well, okay, so it's not terrible. Is I won't call it. It's not a terrible game. It's just I'm just having a hard time getting into it.
There's a lot of variables. Yeah. I also find myself, particularly with these older games, just because gameplay has changed.
Yeah.
In the years, so it's like playing these old, basically straight up JRPGs, and there's no frills in the combat. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
You have a menu, you choose a thing, and you do it.
Well, I mean, it's like I was going back and playing Super Mario RPG, and there is like no customizability there whatsoever.
Right.
I mean, and even that one, it's you get a weapon, 1 armor slot, and then like an accessory slot. Right. But like, I think it's like every level you have a chance to get. You have the choice that you get is to pick like a stat to get bonus stats in. And that's it. Like you have a set path for your skills that you get, and there's not really a lot of customization past that. So yeah, and I mean, and that's like a game that like I really love, and still like I went back and played it, and I was like, whoa, this is not at all the kind of games that I tend to look at these days in terms of like what do I want to play, which is usually like I want tech trees, and talent trees and all that stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this is like you equip weapons, you gain different skills over time, and it's not incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward.
Yeah. I think I will probably get into it a bit better when I get more stuff that actually gives me skills, and I get a couple more characters.
And maybe when you find characters that you're more interested in.
Yeah.
And when you get into the actual story of the game.
Yeah.
And where I'm not even quite there yet.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just starting to get to the point where like they're introducing some mysteries. It's like, whoa, what's actually going on? Like why did the princess want to run away from the castle in the first place?
Well, I figured I mean she's probably adopted. Because I remember there was that whole cutscene like right at the beginning when you start where it's like
where you see the queen, you see her.
It's like, yeah, like the ship goes down kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then and then she basically ends up with Ogre Queen? Goblin Queen?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the opening. Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe that queen who's like blue.
And, Ice Giant Queen?
Namekian Queen?
I actually forgot why.
Yeah.
Because I'm at a point where they're like, oh yeah.
I'm just figuring she's adopted and the queen is, I don't know, like mean and stuff to her because it's the stepmother.
Somewhat, and there's also more. There's more to it than that.
Probably. I mean, I'm just going for the simplest. Explanation.
We haven't even run into the actual antagonist of the game yet.
Oh, I'm sure the who you think the antagonist is going to change like 4 times because it's Final freaking Fantasy.
Minor spoiler, but the very last boss of the game is just like, huh?
Oh, so it's like Xeno freaking Gears.
No, well, kind of.
Not in the case that it's you kill God, but just in the case that it's like
it's not God.
Oh, what do you mean? In the last 10 minutes, you're going to tell me that this was all perpetrated by an enemy that has not shown up once so far in this entire game?
Xenogears, it's hinted at a lot. There's like weird stuff, but it is like, at the end of Xenogears, it's just like, a spaceship crashed on this planet, and there was a living bio super weapon that's basically kind of God, and you have to fight it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, or it's you find out in Xenoblade Chronicles, you find out in the last like 20 minutes of the game that it's like, oh, this guy that like said he was the Monado, he's actually God and is actually the giant robot that you've been on, and was actually a human scientist. And the Mechanis is actually like a lady scientist that, we don't really talk about her name, but she tried to stop him. And then they both became giant robots.
Is that what happened?
And now, and you, Shulk, are actually a third god. And it's your job to kill him. And then
I was reading that the Monado itself was a deity or a god or something.
I think that's what it is. That the Monado,
it's from another dimension, and it's like some higher existence or something.
No, it's the Monado's like a representation of Zanza's power, or something like that. Where there's like 3 different Monados, and one of them is a representation of Zanza's power, who's the Bionis. And then there's another one, which is the representation of, I don't remember her name, but the Mechanis's power. And then there's like a third one that you don't find out exists until the last 10 minutes, until the last boss battle, when Shulk essentially becomes the third Monado after he's dead. Like, Zanza kills him in order to assume physical form, and then Shulk comes back using a new body created by the third Monado.
Awesome.
And then you kill Zanza, and then you wish for a world without gods.
Yeah, like
So yeah,
Xenogears is like
it's
the opening movie of Xenogears is like you see the ship crash into a planet.
Yeah.
After this bioweapon tries to take it over, and you're like, it's never mentioned again. Pretty much the rest of the game, you're like, why was that the opening movie of this game about giant robots?
Yeah,
it had nothing to do with anything.
I don't know.
And then at the end of the game, you're like, yes, a ship crashed into this world, and the computer inside it created the first human being to be the mother of all humans.
Oh god!
But it split itself into 2 different identities. It's like, and like the power of the Zohar drew in a deity
the
from a
Zohan
higher realm. Yeah. The wave existence into our realm.
Oh jeez.
Oh gosh.
All right, so here's a question that I have. So back to Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Josh? Are there any secret post-game bosses?
There might not post-game. There's because these old Final Fantasies didn't have post-game. Once the game was done, it was done.
Well, because I mean, but 7 had Ruby and Emerald weapon, which were considered
They weren't post-game.
They're considered post-game.
You had to do them before you beat Sephiroth. Because once you beat Sephiroth, that was it. The game was over. You couldn't go back and do stuff after that.
Roll credits, end of scene.
No, but I mean...
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like super bosses.
Yeah.
I think there's at least one.
Okay.
Every Final Fantasy has at least one super boss, usually. I never did it, because that was never my thing.
I think it's usually, I guess, or like level 99 bosses or something. Where it's like... They're higher level than the actual like story end boss. So like it's you're right. It's not post game, but it's like post game because it's assumed that you finish the story and then you're like, okay, what else can I do after that? Right. Where like you get out of the final area.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like kind of the same thing for Pokemon, sort of.
I know what you mean. There might be.
Okay.
I'll give you a tip. Try to always steal off bosses with Zidane.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because you usually get a weapon that's like 1 tier higher than what you can get, or an armor or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I picked up Mage Masher.
Yeah. I picked up, like, off one of the next bosses.
Won't let me cast fire yet. You want to cast fire.
Fire? Wait, you get fire right off the bat with VV.
I know, but it lets Zidane cast fire.
No, Zidane can't cast magic.
What?
No, he can't get magic.
It says right on there, cast fire.
Yeah, but he won't. I don't think so.
Who do I have to give it to? Maybe I give it to Steiner, and that lets Steiner use sword magic. I don't know.
But some items have multiple skills on them, but and you can equip them to certain people, but certain people can't learn certain skills.
Okay, and I think we talked about this. Yeah.
Particularly, you'll see that on armor pieces that different characters can wear.
Yeah,
like it'll have maybe a skill that Zidane and Vivi can both use, so you'll have to like switch it between them.
Yeah,
but like, I'm pretty sure Vivi's the only character that does black magic.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Because then pretty soon you'll get Freya, who's a dragoon.
I was
the
just
next
confused because
character you'll get.
it's a dagger, but it had skills attached to it that I am not able to use.
Yeah, I can't remember what Mage Masher had on it. I don't know.
So whatever it is, Zidane can't use it, and I was very sad to find out, and very mad to find out during the battle that all I can do is still flee or steal, basically. Zidane's basically become like a pocket healer where he just throws potions at people. Because I'm like, yeah.
I actually, I died on a couple boss fights because I was just not, I guess, fully paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's part of it's because of the ATB, the active time battle stuff. Because like, you got to pick your thing, or else the enemy's gonna go.
I do know you can set it so that it pauses while you have a menu open while you're trying to pick out
I should look to do that because
I might look to do that as well.
Because there's some times where I'm trying to make a decision.
Yeah.
And
although lately I've just been like, I don't know what to do. I'm just fire.
I mean, yeah, early game it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You're either attacking with Zidane or Steiner, or doing magic sword with Steiner, and
with
Vivi, you're pretty much just casting magic because his attack does 5 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the only character that I had dropped was during one of the like stage combats, and it was the guy that has like the chef's hat.
Oh yeah.
That he later talks about like, oh, I lost my doll. That for whatever reason he just got focused and just like dropped, and then I was like, oh well, I'll use a Phoenix Down, and then he got like focused again, and just dropped.
Like that's what happened to me a couple times.
Geez.
Characters got focused, and then I was already kind of low on other people, and then I just couldn't res and heal in time to keep up.
Also, was there any point to using any of the special effects skills?
I don't think so.
Okay, in my mind, it's like, why include them then?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Because they deal 0 damage.
Well, because like, oh, does this affect like how many people are impressed at the end? I couldn't remember. And I was like, oh no, that just depends on how well you hit the buttons during the prompts.
Yeah, so I was just like, why?
I think it was just more of a flavor thing.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, you're in a play, you're not actually going to cast magic at each other. It's going to be effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked that kind of the beginning. I liked the whole how it's very like Shakespearean, like, and here's the airship, but the airship's got a stage on it, and the theater pulls right up to the castle.
Yeah.
And they do the play on that. I always thought that was kind of a neat little like flavor-wise world building thing. Cool.
So yeah. Cool. So before we run too long, so we will continue. If you want to join us in our little video game club for this week, check out Final Fantasy IX. Next week we'll report back in on where we're going.
And Courtney will actually have played a bit.
Nice.
Yes.
So, if you want to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, you can head on over to 8-bitadventures.com. Over there, you can find the 8-Bit Adventures comic, various 8-Bit Adventures podcasts, streams, videos, and other cool content. If you would like to support that content, head on over to patreon.com/8bitadventures. And thank you to all of our current patrons. Thank you very much. Because of you, we're able to get things like the Berkshire Bites podcast and the Turtle and Terrier Private Eyes patrons only comic. So our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And with that, folks, we are going to take off for the evening. So have fun, everyone. Happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.
Bye, everybody.
See you later.